Hi guys, welcome to Greek Food is Good for the Soul. My name is Elaine Olay, and I have my cohort in cooking over here who's just going to wave off camera, Kathy Clifton. And we are going to bring to you today a recipe for Spanakopita. You say, what is Spanakopita? It is a spinach pie, and it's delicious. So I don't know if you guys were as bummed as I was this year that the Greek Food Festival was postponed, and I know it happened across the country with our current state of affairs. So when they did postpone it, I cried a little bit because I look forward to it every year. Our Greek community makes some of the most delicious foods, and I just didn't want to wait. So I decided I would share my personal Spanakopita recipe, which, trust me, it's kind of good. And it has made me fairly popular among my family members. And we're going to go through the process with you guys today so you can see how we create them in my house. Now, disclaimer, there's a ton of different recipes. So mine is not the only one. There's a lot of different ways to make it. A lot of different spices and things can be used. But I have kind of nailed down this one to my taste and what I enjoy. So let's roll. We're going to go through some ingredients that you're going to need, and it's a big long list. So obviously you need spinach. I always use frozen spinach. You can use fresh if you want to. 2 10-ounce boxes, and you want to thaw that and drain it thoroughly. You want to make sure you get all the moisture out of it that you can, or else the pies get a little bit too runny. You're going to want 1 large onion. I like sweet onions. You're going to want 1 bunch of green onions, or scallions, leeks, whatever you call them. 2 sticks of butter. I know, butter, but butter makes it so much better. You got to have butter. And then a pound of feta, pound of farmer cheese, and I kind of strayed from that this time. I apologize. Farmer cheese sometimes is hard to find in your grocery store, and it basically is pressed cottage cheese, so you can use cottage cheese too. I kind of took a left-hand turn and tried provolone one year. I loved it. It's got a good flavor. It's a little bit more flavorful than like a cottage cheese, so it just depends on your taste buds. And then you're going to beat up 2 eggs. You're going to need a box of phyllo. Everybody knows the phyllo. And those are your basic ingredients. I don't typically salt because the feta cheese is pretty salty. The butter is salted butter, so you usually don't have to add more salt. But you can if you like a really salty pie. And then I always put a little pepper in there too. So basically to prepare, you're going to want a cookie sheet. You're going to need some pastry brushes. I don't use these to paint, so we're good. You're going to need a sharp knife to cut your phyllo. You're going to need a large bowl to mix all your ingredients, and then a small bowl to beat up your eggs. And just some mixing utensils, a cutting board, and I use wax paper to roll on. And then you're going to want to take a tea towel from the kitchen and just dampen it, because you're going to lay that on top of your phyllo as you go so it doesn't dry out. Because phyllo is notorious for, if it sits in the air too long, it starts to curl up and dry out, and it's hard to use at that point. So, everybody with me? Okay, here we go. So the first thing we're going to do is my cohort in crime is going to start to put the ingredients in the bowl. What we have here, you can't smell it, but it smells good, is the mixture of the onions chopped and 1 stick of butter. 1 stick of butter. So that smells delightful all by itself. Then we're going to add our spinach that has been drained. And it's good to use a chopped spinach because you don't want big, hunky, stringy pieces. Okay. You're rocking it, Kathy. You're rocking it. All right, and now we're adding cheeses. I pre-chopped everything because I'm notorious for getting boo-boos when I chop, so I didn't want to do that on camera. So everything's pre-chopped and ready to roll. The feta, which is like the star of the show. I love feta. Alright, and then last but not least, which is my second star of the show, and I always use more than I've seen in recipes, and it's fresh parsley. That to me adds a flavor that I just love. Alright, and then you're going to go ahead and put a sprinkle of pepper. There's some in that bowl there. Just give it a little, that's the technical term of pepper. And then you're going to go ahead and kind of combine that a little bit, and then we're going to add the eggs. This is the fun part. I'm going to stand back so I don't wear it. You're doing a fine job, Kathy. So when mixing, you want to make sure that you get every single little bit mixed together, because you don't want just a bite of spinach. You want to make sure you have a bite of all the yumminess in every piece. That looks delightful. All right, now go ahead and add those eggs and then mix it up really good. Yum. Eggs just give it a little bit of body, kind of hold things together a little bit like glue. Doesn't that look good? Now, I wouldn't mind taking a hunk of that and rolling it up into an omelet. That would be kind of tasty, too. You can't go wrong. All right, how's it look to you, boss?
Good.
Pretty good? All right, that's the easy part. Now comes the fun part. So, I'm going to teach my non-Greek friend how to roll these things. Hopefully, she'll still like me at the end of this. We'll see. All right, we're going to put that up here, get it out of the way. So my phyllo, if you can see it, is over here underneath my damp towel. And it is covered in wax paper. If you lay the damp towel directly on the phyllo, you're going to have a mush of phyllo, and it's never going to cooperate. All right, and then I typically cut my sections probably about 6 inches, because that gives me a size that I think is perfect for a pie. And I'm going to give my friend Kathy a pile. And I'm going to keep a pile. And then we're going to cover that back up so it doesn't dry out on us. Boom. Cool. Alright. Now, what we need is our little pot of melted butter, Miss Kathy. Get that out the way.
Where you want it, right here.
Right there's perfect. So I melted probably half a stick of butter, because we're not going to make a whole bunch today. And that's what we're going to use with our pastry brushes as we lay our phyllo. Here comes the fun part. Okay, so you're going to take one piece of phyllo, and this stuff is like tissue paper. It is so fine. I mean, you can see through it. And you're going to lay that down. You can just push yours out of the way so you got room to work.
Gotcha.
All right? You're going to lay that guy down, and then you're going to dip your brush in the butter and just kind of paint it with the butter. Doesn't have to be perfect. Just need to get it on there.
Got you.
That's pretty good for a non-Greek. I'm proud of you. Bravo. Okay. Grazie. That's Italian, Kathy. Okay, so then you're going to take another piece of phyllo.
All right.
All right.
Jumping ahead. Yep.
You
Gotcha.
slow down, Missy. And you're going to lay that right on top of the first piece. It's okay if it's a little bit off. It's not going to hurt anybody's feelings. And then you're going to brush it again with some more butter. If you're on a diet or don't enjoy butter, this is the wrong program for you, because we're all about the butter.
Don't move.
Don't move.
Don't
Okay.
Look, don't look.
Don't look. All right, so now, you ready?
Yeah.
You are going to fold these two pieces of phyllo in half longwise. Boom. Now, we're going to take our little spoon, and we're going to get us a good looking hunk of mixture. And I always want to make sure there's onion and cheese and everybody in there. Big piece of parsley. Yum.
Where?
The tricky part is figuring out how much is too much. That looks good. You're going to put it right in one of the corners, one of the bottom corners. Mush it together in a little ball. So if you put too much, what happens when you bake it is it expands and it blows out the side of your pie, which is bad if you want to be able to share all your pies with people, but it's good if you are operating under my personal philosophy of if it's broken and it looks bad, you got to eat it. You can't give that to people. So, all right, you ready?
Mm-hmm.
So we are going to start by creating a triangle. That's beautiful. Just like folding a flag. And you roll it up. And you roll it up. And if we measured correctly, it comes out just right. And you have a lovely little triangle. I place it down on the cookie sheet with the edges down so they don't curl up on me.
That's like a football.
It's beautiful. Let's do another one.
All right.
Okay. I'm not going to coach you this time. You're on your own.
Go.
La 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 la. See, we're getting away with not covering this phyllo because we don't have too much of it out, and we only, excuse me, are only going to make a few. So, otherwise, I would want to cover them while I was playing. Butter, 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 butter. Come here. Another piece on top. Looking good, girl. Butter, butter, butter. So you can typically get about 60 pies out of one box of phyllo. I failed to show you this earlier, but the phyllo box comes with 2 separate rolls that are completely contained, so you can use one at a time, stick the other back in. And the way I size them, I get about 60 out of them. And you want to make sure before you're getting ready to make your pies that you thaw the phyllo out in the fridge so that it's completely thawed. If it's still sticky or if it's gotten moist from being thawed out of the fridge, it might be harder to work with. So you just want to make sure that you have it completely thawed so that it looks nice and smooth and happy. And I was letting you catch up. That's why I was talking.
No, I forgot to fold. Sorry.
And another bite. You can also, if you want, you can make, typically when I make them, I make probably 500 or 600 at a time because my family likes to eat. So I make them and then I freeze them, and they freeze well for a few months. So you can kind of make ahead of time what you think you might need for the holidays, or if you want to have them on hand. One day you're laying on the couch and you think, I could eat some spinach pie. You got it in the freezer. So they do freeze pretty well. All right, we're going to stop there because those are just fabulous. Don't you think?
Yes.
Yes, of course. Okay, then the last step, guess what? Butter. You're going to brush the tops with more butter. La, la, la. You can sing while you do it because, well, it makes us happy. If you know the Greek anthem, you can sing that. Do you know the Greek anthem?
No, I do not.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Sorry.
I'm sure you have many other lovely qualities. Okay, so we're stopping there. So what you don't have to grease the pan or anything, obviously, because there's enough butter. You're going to bake these at 350 for anywhere between 15 and 20 minutes, depending on your stove. You just want to kind of watch after about 10 or 12 minutes and look at and see if the phyllo dough is starting to brown up a little bit. And then basically when you pull them out, they are ready to munch upon. And we do have...
Elaine, we have a question.
We do?
Yes.
What is it?
Would you want to put aluminum foil over the top of the cookie sheet to prevent them from burning, the pies?
Well, you surely can. I typically don't. I use the cookie sheet that has the space in between so they don't usually burn up. But yeah, you can put foil down. Absolutely. Good question.
One other question.
Yes.
In the butter, you know, there's quite a bit of butter that has, say, olive oil in it. Can you use that type of butter in it as well?
Yep, I don't think that would be an issue at all. A lot of recipes call for oils, olive oil, instead of butter when you're simmering your onions, so all good. Olive oil would be just fine. I just prefer to go straight up butter. That's me. All right. That's what we got, folks. Easy peasy spinach pie. I hope you will go home and try this out real quick, and you will be able to pull this video back up on YouTube once it's been downloaded probably later in the week, so you can pull it up and watch it again to get all the mixtures and stuff. But otherwise, I wish you all a very happy, happy day, and I don't know about you, Khaki, but I'm going to eat one. They're room temp. Cheers.
Bravo, bravo.
Bravo, bravo, people. Have a great day.